Welcome back to the sections. In these sections, what we will try to argue for is the value of fieldwork. In our previous talk, we have tried to argue that the value of the fieldwork must be located within the context of geographical inquiry. A good fieldwork should have a conceptual basis upon which an investigation can be carried out. A fieldwork must be purposed to try to collect relevant data that will allow us to verify the concepts, theories, or try to argue for a case. A suitable method must be used to collect data through fieldwork, so we must have a good methodological considerations. And finally, you must have also a kind of like, through fieldwork, you must develop a sense of place. So it is through this dimension that you can think about the value of fieldwork. Within the academic context, there's one particular important values that I want to talk about in this talk. That is to say, what is the value of academic values of conducting fieldwork? I will argue that it could solve what we call puzzles related to geographical matters. That is to say, so what are the puzzles? What are the essential puzzles that we are talking about? In geographical inquiry, you may be talking about different interpretations. Or what we call explanation towards geographical phenomena. So in a way, geography is not a static body of knowledge. Geography is a very dynamic body of knowledge. Through years of research, decades of research, we may be able to locate different kind of interpretation, different causes related to different outcomes related to different geographical phenomena. That would make the field very vibrant. What academic is trying to do is to try to see which interpretations or explanations offer a better explanations towards the reality. In a way, when we do social science research or geographical research, we need to bear in mind that our target is to answer certain kind of is to help general public and academics to understand the causes, the outcomes, or the kind of the appropriateness of theories in certain kind of geographical phenomena. So when we try to justify the value of your fieldwork, justify the value of fieldwork, we need to locate ourselves in its power to try to identify the answers to different puzzles. So how do we identify puzzles? If you are doing an undergraduate or postgraduate, the most straightforward way to identify these puzzles is through what we call literature review. In literature review, what you can try to look for is the different interpretation and explanations. These kind of different interpretations and explanations sometimes may contradict with one another. So what your value of research is to try to see which explanations or interpretations is a better one. Or alternatively, can you arrive at your own interpretations or explanations? You may be able to say that, hey, certain scholars may have an appropriate interpretations than the others. And others may say that, hey, all these explanations are not valid because I can identify another reasons. So in a way, you are trying to engage in an academic dialogue about which explanations, which interpretation is better. So in a way, through this kind of literature review, you may be able to establish the ground for research. To try to justify your value of research, you need to use literature review to try to drive it. One may then ask a question, how about the secondary school students? They may not have the necessary resources to do literature review. So in a way, For geographical educators, what they can do is to try to go to the library and try to see if there's any newspapers or publicly available records and try to extract relevant data or interpretations. You allow them to, you present both sides of the argument. Some may be for, some may be against. You then allow the students to design their own fieldwork, because this would be their puzzles that they are trying to resolve. In a way, you just need some guidance so that they could know what are the puzzles they're working on. So to recap, for undergraduate or postgraduate, obviously literature review would be important one, because this allows you to identify different explanations, different interpretations. But for secondary school, teachers may help to try to help them identify what the puzzles are. So in a way, the secondary school education, geographical education may equip them with the necessary academic skills, which they can make use of in their later academic stage. So this will be an important, why do I need to emphasize this one is that because a lot of us would get lost as to why do we need to conduct fieldwork, because in the age of internet world, digital world, you do not necessarily go to the field. And more importantly, doing a fieldwork can be expensive and very time requires a lot of time. So in a way, how do we justify the value of fieldwork? How do we explain the value of fieldwork? We argue that in the academic world, there are too many different explanations or interpretations. What you try to do is to contribute your knowledge. So we emphasize is the contribution to knowledge. This is something that people should pay attention to whenever they design the fieldwork. You are trying to resolve puzzles so that you are adding values to the existing body of knowledge. So no matter whether you're undergraduate, postgraduate, or senior researchers, or even high school students, you can contribute to knowledge. You can contribute to our understanding about different spatial process. So fieldwork is one in which you try to resolve puzzle. One that could enhance your intellectual life. So this would be something important to bear in mind.